Do you feel this tremor in the air? It's the beating of wings as the archangels approach your suffering spirit in this very moment. As these words reach your heart, a dual celestial power is descending upon you. Michael's warrior strength and Raphael's healing touch. It's no coincidence that you're listening to this prayer today. When your body and soul silently cry out for relief, this is a divine appointment with your total healing. That seemingly invincible illness, that pain that feels eternal, that spiritual wound that won't close, all are about to encounter a combined celestial force that no earthly affliction can resist. Michael's sword will cut the invisible roots of your suffering, while Raphael's hands pour divine balm on your visible and hidden wounds. If this prayer is touching the deepest chords of your being, write in the comments, "Michael and Raphael, touch my body and soul," and let this declaration become the first step toward your complete healing. Oh, mighty archangels Michael and Raphael, I kneel in spirit before your majestic celestial presence, you supreme manifestations of divine power and compassion. I turn my gaze, my prayer, and my trust to you in this time of need. Saint Michael, Prince of the heavenly hosts, you who carry the flaming sword of divine justice, Archangel Raphael, medicine of God, you who carry the chalice of celestial healing, I contemplate you together, complementary forces of heaven, united in this prayer to bring complete renewal to my suffering being. Saint Michael and Archangel Raphael, at this moment in my life, I feel the weight of illness bearing down on my body, of suffering oppressing my spirit. I perceive the physical pain that limits my movements, the chronic fatigue that depletes my strength, the persistent symptoms that resist every earthly remedy. I also feel the invisible wounds of the soul, the sadness that darkens my days, the anxiety that steals my sleep, the past traumas that still echo in the present, the broken relationships that bleed in the silence of the heart. But today, with this prayer that unites your celestial powers, I invoke your immediate intervention and your joint action, certain that no affliction can resist when heaven's warrior and healer work together. Saint Michael Archangel, I pray you use your sword of divine light to cut every energetic tie to the illness that afflicts me. Cut the ethereal cords that connect my body to negative diagnoses, to grim prognoses, to sentences of perpetual suffering. Cut the invisible threads that bind my mind to memories of pain, to unresolved traumas, to emotional wounds that continue to bleed. Cut the karmic chains that might keep my health imprisoned in repetitive patterns of suffering. Cut the subtle roots of ancestral fears related to illness and death that feed my present distress. Your sword is definitive, your action irreversible, your cut liberating. Where your blade passes, no negative bond can reform, no toxic connection can reestablish, no limiting chain can recompose. Archangel Raphael, divine healer, after Michael has severed the ties to illness, I pray you pour your celestial balm on every area of my body that needs healing. Pour your sacred oil on every damaged organ, on every inflamed tissue, on every altered cell, on every unbalanced system. Let your fluid of emerald green light penetrate to the molecular level, reprogramming DNA, rebalancing biochemical processes, restoring divine order in every bodily function. Your celestial medicine has no side effects. Your angelic therapy has no contraindications. Your divine intervention has no limits of efficacy. Where your balm touches, disease dissolves, pain vanishes, functionality is restored, vitality returns in fullness. Saint Michael, protector of souls, I ask you to erect an impenetrable shield around my aura, blocking the entry of any pathogenic energy. May no virus, no bacteria, no energetic or physical parasite penetrate my auric field. May no vibration of disease, no frequency of degeneration, no resonance of suffering synchronize with the cells of my body. Your shield reflects and repels every attack on my health, every invasion of my well-being, every assault on my vitality. Under this divine protection, my immune system strengthens, my natural defenses are empowered, My innate resistance multiplies. I feel wrapped in a bubble of golden light that no force of disease can penetrate. In a field of crystalline energy that no pathogenic agent can cross. Archangel Raphael, celestial physician, I pray you send your angelic assistance to every part of my body requiring attention. Send angels specialized in the nervous system to calm every pain and restore every damaged neural connection. Send angels expert in the circulatory system to purify the blood and strengthen the heart and blood vessels. Send angels dedicated to the respiratory system to free the lungs and optimize oxygen exchange. Send angels focused on the digestive system to balance intestinal flora and improve nutrient assimilation. Send angels specialized in the endocrine system to harmonize hormone production and balance metabolism. These celestial operators work with microscopic precision, with perfect understanding of divine physiology, with direct access to the original blueprints of my physical perfection as conceived by the Creator Saint Michael, illuminator of minds. I ask you to dispel with your light every mental fog that obscures my clarity, every confusion that distorts my thinking, every darkness that veils my perception. Illuminate also the doctors and therapists who care for me, so they may clearly see the root of my problems and find the most effective solutions. Guide their minds toward accurate diagnoses, toward appropriate treatments, toward truly resolving therapies. Inspire in them divine intuitions that transcend mere technical knowledge, subtle perceptions that surpass the limits of instrumental analysis, deep understandings that go beyond standardized protocols. Your light reveals what remains hidden to earthly eyes, shows what escapes diagnostic tools, highlights what doesn't appear in conventional test results. Archangel Raphael, comforter of the afflicted, I implore you to pour celestial balm also on the invisible wounds of my spirit. Heal the emotional scars left by painful relationships, by deep betrayals, by devastating losses. Regenerate the areas of my soul damaged by traumas, by shocks, by experiences that have torn the subtle fabric of my inner being. Repair the fractures of my psyche caused by chronic stress, by excessive pressures, by tensions prolonged beyond the limits of human endurance. Your therapeutic touch reaches layers of being that no conventional therapy can touch, accesses dimensions of consciousness that no traditional approach can penetrate, contacts levels of the soul that no earthly method can directly influence. Where your divine hands pass, old wounds heal, ancient pains dissolve, deep lacerations recompose into a new integrity. Saint Michael, warrior of light, fight for me against those pathogens that resist ordinary treatments, against those diseases that seem intractable, against those disorders that confound earthly medicine. Your sword penetrates even the most impenetrable fortresses of chronic pain, even the most resistant bastions of autoimmune diseases, even the most fortified citadels of degenerative pathologies. No enemy of health can resist your direct attack. No saboteur of well-being can survive your targeted assault. No invader of vitality can escape your relentless pursuit. I see you as, with surgical precision, you uproot from my body every alien presence, every pathogenic entity, every foreign element that doesn't belong to the divine design of my perfect health. Archangel Raphael, bearer of divine joy, I ask you to fill with your frequency of celestial happiness every space in my body and soul, from which disease is uprooted. Nature abhors a vacuum. Where pain is removed, something must take its place. Fill these liberated spaces with your vibration of pure joy, with your resonance of deep peace, with your energy of explosive vitality. This infusion of positive frequencies not only prevents the return of disease, but transforms previously afflicted areas into radiant centers, amplified well-being into hotbeds of intensified health, into generators of multiplied vitality under your beatifying influence. Parts of my being that have known the most intense suffering now become channels of the most expansive joy, vehicles of the purest pleasure, conductors of the most contagious happiness. Saint Michael and Archangel Raphael, I implore you to work together to harmonize the relationship between my physical body and my spiritual body. Between my material reality and my ethereal essence, Michael, with your sword, cut any interference that disturbs this sacred communication, Raphael, with your caduceus. Restore the correct flow of information between these dimensions of my being. This divine synergy reestablishes perfect coherence between all my subtle bodies, etheric, emotional, mental, causal, buddhic, atmic, and my physical vehicle. When this interdimensional communication is optimized, healing occurs simultaneously at all levels. Health is restored in all layers of being. Well-being spreads through all frequencies of my multidimensional existence. Divine archangels, sharpen now my perception to recognize and welcome your healing action. Open my spiritual senses to feel your celestial touch as it works in my body. Expand my awareness to perceive the subtle, energetic changes that signal the healing process in progress. I feel a warmth spreading in the affected areas, a tingling that indicates cellular regeneration, a lightness that replaces the heaviness of pain, a vitality that takes the place of chronic fatigue. These signals are not imagination, but real perceptions of your divine intervention. Not suggestion, but tangible testimonies of your celestial operation. Not fantasy, but concrete evidence of the transformation you are realizing in my being. Saint Michael, examiner of Akashic records, I pray you identify and cancel every karmic contract, every ancestral vow, every oath from past lives that might sustain my current condition of illness. If in other incarnations I made promises of suffering for atonement, if I accepted physical limitations as tools for spiritual learning, if I established soul agreements that included diseases as catalysts for growth, and if these lessons have now been learned, these experiences have now been integrated, these purposes have now been achieved, cancel with divine authority such contracts from the cosmic records of my soul. Declare these agreements concluded, these pacts terminated. These cycles of learning through suffering completed. Your authority transcends karmic cycles. Your power surpasses the laws of cause and effect. Your mercy transforms debt into grace through divine love. Archangel Raphael, master of cellular alchemy, teach me to maintain and amplify the healing you are operating in me. Awaken my intuitive wisdom regarding what nourishes my health and what damages it. Refine my sensitivity toward foods that support my healing and those that hinder it. Sharpen my perception of activities that increase my vitality and those that drain it. Expand my awareness of relationships that elevate my energy and those that depress it. This inner knowledge becomes my daily compass, my personal guide, my intuitive navigator in the continuous journey toward ever more radiant health, ever deeper well-being, ever more explosive vitality. Saint Michael, erase now from my aura every cellular memory of disease, every energetic imprint of suffering, every vibrational recording of dysfunction, the body and energy field. Preserve memories of past states. Erase every trace of disease that could serve as a model for future recurrences. Every imprint of pain that could serve as a matrix for subsequent manifestations. Every recording of imbalance that could function as a pattern for future reactivations. Your purifying flame consumes these limiting memories without damaging the cells that contain them. Burns these restrictive imprints without altering the tissues that host them. Dissolves these conditioning recordings without compromising the organs that preserve them. This deep cleansing leaves no voids, but creates space for new patterns of perfect health, for new schemes of complete well-being, for new programs of unlimited vitality. Archangel Raphael, sow now in the purified ground of my being the crystalline codes of perfect health, the divine programs of optimal functioning, the sacred frequencies of organic harmony. These celestial seeds contain the original blueprints of my physical perfection as conceived by the Creator, the primordial designs of my biological excellence as intended by the divine, the fundamental matrices of my vital fullness as planned by the Supreme Intelligence, irrigated by the constant flow of your healing energy, nourished by the perpetual light of divine grace, protected by the inviolable field of celestial love. These seeds germinate rapidly, grow vigorously, bear fruit abundantly, transforming every cell, every tissue, every organ into perfect expression of the divine prototype of human health in its maximum expression, Saint Michael and Archangel Raphael. Now extend your healing work beyond the boundaries of my individual body. Heal the relationships that influence my health, with family members, with friends, with colleagues. Purify the environments that impact my well-being, the home where I live, the places where I work, the spaces where I socialize. Harmonize the circumstances that condition my vitality, financial situations, work matters, community dynamics. True healing is never isolated to the physical body alone, but extends like a concentric wave to all aspects of existence that influence the state of global health. This holistic expansion of your therapeutic intervention creates a supportive ecosystem around me, a nurturing environment that sustains my healing, a harmonious context that favors the maintenance of newfound well-being. Celestial archangels now activate in me the power of continuous self-healing, the capacity for autonomous regeneration, the gift of spontaneous healing. Awaken that innate wisdom that every cell possesses, that organic intelligence that every tissue contains, that intrinsic knowledge that every organ preserves. My body knows how to heal itself when freed from energetic blocks, from external interferences, from limiting beliefs under your divine influence. This bodily wisdom awakens from its sleep. This cellular intelligence activates in its fullness. This biological knowledge expresses itself in its power. I am no longer dependent on external interventions to maintain my health, no longer bound to exterior supports to sustain my well-being, no longer limited to extrinsic aids to preserve my vitality. I become a self-healing, self-regenerating, self-regulating being, in constant communication with the divine wisdom that permeates every particle of my being. Saint Michael, guardian of time. Now, accelerate the healing process in areas where conventional medicine predicts long recovery periods, extended times of convalescence. Prolonged cycles of rehabilitation compress the time necessary for tissue regeneration, for cellular repair, for functional restoration. What would normally require months can happen in weeks. What would usually take weeks can be realized in days. What would typically need days can be completed in hours. This miraculous acceleration doesn't violate natural laws, but transcends them through the application of higher laws. Doesn't it ignore biological processes, but empowers them through the infusion of divine energy? Doesn't it bypass the phases of healing, but intensifies them through the concentration of celestial force? Chronological time bends before angelic authority. Temporal linearity curves under celestial influence. Ordinary sequentiality compresses by divine command. Archangel Raphael, now transform my experience of healing into living testimony of divine power, into tangible demonstration of celestial mercy, into visible proof of cosmic love. May my healing not be just for myself, but become inspiration for those who suffer, hope for those who are afflicted, encouragement for those who are discouraged. May my experience of recovery not remain confined in privacy, but expand as a message of possibility, as a signal of potential, as an invitation to trust in the divine healing power. May the transformation of my being not remain an isolated event, but generate waves of healing that propagate well beyond the boundaries of my individual existence, touching lives, inspiring hearts, refueling faith in the possibility of miracles in an age of materialism and skepticism. Saint Michael and Archangel Raphael, as this prayer draws to a close, seal with your celestial seal the work of healing you have begun in me. Create a seal of protection that maintains stable the positive changes, a mark of preservation that conserves the beneficial transformations, an imprint of continuity that perpetuates the healing process even after the conclusion of this invocation. This angelic seal is not static, but dynamic. It continues to emit healing frequencies, to radiate reparative vibrations, to transmit regenerative waves. It acts as a beacon that constantly attracts healing energy from the celestial realms, as a magnet that continuously draws particles of health from the divine dimensions. as a crystal that incessantly channels therapeutic light from the angelic spheres, powerful archangels. I thank you from the depths of my heart for your immediate response to this prayer, for your effective action in my being, for your constant presence in my healing process. I already feel the first signs of your divine intervention. A warmth spreading in painful areas, a lightness replacing the heaviness of disease, a vitality returning like a rising tide in previously afflicted zones. These are not effects of autosuggestion, but real manifestations of your celestial operation. Not products of imagination, but concrete results of your divine touch. Not fruits of desire, but tangible consequences of your powerful intercession. With immense gratitude, I welcome the healing you are operating in me, not with hesitant doubt, but with confident certainty, not with timid hope, but with bold expectation, not with wavering faith, but with unwavering conviction. I open myself completely to the river of healing energy you are pouring upon me. I abandon myself totally to the ocean of therapeutic grace in which you are immersing me. I surrender entirely to the cascade of regenerative power you are flowing through my being. This total openness, this complete abandonment, this absolute surrender exponentially amplifies the effectiveness of your intervention, the impact of your action, the power of your work in me. Saint Michael and Archangel Raphael. The bond we have established in this prayer does not end with the conclusion of these words. It deepens, strengthens, intensifies from this moment on. You are constant companions in my healing journey, perpetual assistants in my path toward radiant health, eternal guides in my evolution toward integral well-being. Every time I think of you, I will feel your presence intensify. Every time I invoke your names, I will perceive your energy amplify. Every time I contemplate your images, I will experience your action and power. This sacred connection becomes a permanent channel of divine healing, a constant conduit of therapeutic energy, an inexhaustible source of celestial regeneration. With this certainty in my heart, I continue my earthly journey, no longer weighed down by illness, but elevated by healing, no longer limited by pain, but expanded by well-being, no longer defined by suffering, but transformed by divine grace that, through your powerful mediation, has touched every cell of my body, every fiber of my soul, every dimension of my being. Healed, renewed, transformed. Thus you have declared me. Thus you have consecrated me. Thus I will be from this moment forward. Living testimony of the divine healing power that works through the beloved archangels Michael and Raphael. If this prayer has touched your soul, know that something powerful has already begun to move in the spiritual world, but your healing journey has just begun. The next prayer, which is appearing on the screen right now, might be the next step to unlock even more blessings in your life. Click and continue to receive what heaven has prepared for the completion of your physical and spiritual healing.